This is the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast with your host, Jason Peck.
That is right. We are back again with another episode, the Week 9 edition of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast. As always, I am your host, the commissioner of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League, Jason Peck, and I am here this week, as you all can see, with one of my best friends in the entire world and wonderful co-host this week, Benaiah Samke. Benaiah, thanks for joining me this week. How are you?
Doing well. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. After the beatdown that a person in particular, put on me this week. But
one-man wrecking crew. His name is Joe Mixon. This is his breakout year / game / just that one. I have waited so long for literally just that to happen.
Actually, yeah, it couldn't have happened on a better week because you were playing against me. You knew you were going to come on the pod this week, and you knew that this was your time to just tout the fact that you have been waiting on this for so many years.
I've had Joe Mixon seemingly every year, and this was it. This was his breakout week. I've been talking about it since I was 5 years old, and it's finally happened. Also, this is you said it right. This is the most important non-playoff game that there is because it's like a miniature bowl game. You get all the press around it.
Yeah, yeah. This is the press. 100% of the press in the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League is on this matchup this week. So there you go. It was a big one for you and your boy Joe. So we'll get more into that as we recap the matchup. But first, we have some very important news to talk about.
This week's injuries.
How is he running with a broken leg? Dog, I gotta do this shit. I put the team on my fucking back, though. My leg broke. I don't know how the fuck I'm running right now, though.
Wonderful drop. All right, let's get into a more serious mood for this actual news. So, unfortunately, this week's injuries are very bad for all Packers fans in the nation. We're leading off with the three big injuries on the Packers. Christian Watson got his second concussion in as many weeks. So he is for sure out week 10 and probably out for a number of weeks after that, especially with how they're cracking down on concussions, which ultimately is good for the players, but not good for the Packers.
Brain injuries are bad.
Brain injuries are bad, and it makes you wonder why they play football at all, because, they were on the ramp. We're sad. Sorry. The other wide receiver, potential breakout wide receiver for the Packers, Romeo Doubs, had a high ankle sprain on his right ankle, and he's out at least 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. High ankle sprains suck. Speaking of ankle sprains, Aaron Jones had a left ankle sprain, his other leg. So maybe him and Romeo Doubs can take together their legs and have 2 full working legs and run down the field that way. I don't know, but his ankle sprain is minor. So hopefully he's going to play next week. They said all the tests came back negative, which is a positive. So
You ever see Stuck on You?
No, did I call something that happened stuck on you?
No, never mind.
I'm sorry.
It's the dumb movie where Matt Damon is stuck to Greg Kinnear.
Oh.
And they're
so they have to walk together like that.
They're Hispanic twins or whatever that's called.
Oh yeah, the conjoined twins.
Yeah, that's it.
Twins or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Interesting. So they have a total of 3 legs, and they have to.
No, they're just attached. Just by skin or something. They have a liver or something. I don't remember.
Really? Sounds amazing.
It's directed by the Dumb and Dumber guy, so you know it's good.
It sounds just right. Right up their alley. All right. One more kind of maybe major injury and then a small injury. Josh Allen, big name. He had some sort of UCL sprain, maybe an ulnar nerve injury. He made it seem like it wasn't a big deal, but I'm not sure if he's going to be available or not for this next week. So we'll have to see. That's a big question mark for Ryo's team because that's his whole team. So yeah, and then the last one is kind of a smaller one. Evan Ingram had some sort of back injury. It seems like he's day-to-day. Should be okay. Smaller one as far as fantasy implications. Hopefully nobody is playing Evan Ingram because he hasn't been fantastic. He's been okay, actually, but, not super fantasy relevant. All right.
Let's come to the classic line, like never play Evan Ingram.
Yeah, ever since his rookie year, he broke all the rookie records, and then after that, even but the rookie records for tight ends are not even like that great. So, barely usable tight end, and you're breaking the tight end rookie records because it's such a tough position to learn. But, so he had a great rookie year, but it really still wasn't usable for fantasy. And then after that, everybody was chasing his fantastic athleticism, and he's one of the best. But now all he does is drop.
Hey, listen, any tight end with Madden speed rating of like 88 or more, they must be good in fantasy too, right?
Yeah, they have to be. But yeah, so yeah, just avoid Evan. Continue to avoid Evan. I almost played him this week. That was that close. I had him in my lineup, and I swapped him out for Isaiah Likely, hoping to get a massive game without Mark Andrews in. But he did start off the game well, but then didn't do anything after that.
No, it was an improbable start.
Yes, and a probable ending. So, all right, on to the top score of the week.
Isaiah regression.
Unlikely. Isaiah regression. Well, some would say that was the likely outcome of what he actually did. So on to the top scorer of the week. We've got Aaron this week, who had 148.34 points. Congratulations. I'll have to give you your $10 here.
Alexander Hamilton.
Oh, it's music to my ears.
It is. The creator is on the show this week. There could not be a better time to do the Alexander Hamilton drop. So I remembered it. I have the note in here now so that I don't forget it.
I won't have to dislike this video on YouTube.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did. Did you undislike it?
Yes, once you remembered the drop, I undisliked it and then I liked it.
I haven't completely forgotten it this year. I may have forgotten it in the moment and then went back after, like, when I get to their matchup. That's when I remember it again because they scored the most points in the league. And then I'm like, actually, also the all the weekly awards now have the best team in there too. So I have like 3 chances to remember it. So I haven't forgotten it yet this year. But I do have a record of forgetting it. So.
No, it's okay. Listen, every time you remember it, though, your viewer appreciates it.
I appreciate my viewer, so, my single viewer. That's all right. This podcast is not for the masses. It's for a very specific group of people that don't all watch it, but that's fine. You know what? I appreciate the people who appreciate it, and that's all that matters. I do it for fun, and that's really what this is all about.
I prepared this week, man. I'm ready to go.
I'm glad
taking this serious.
I hope this got the doc got you in enough time for you to look it through. And
no, certainly this is going to be the tightest Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast show.
Tight
yet.
It's going to be tight. So we will with that we're going to move on to the matchup reactions for the week.
Last week's head-to-head results.
All right. And
From the top.
this gives me no joy. I'm pretty sure that was playing every single time Joe Mixon made it into the end zone this weekend. 5 times on me. I wasn't even paying attention. I was downtown Chicago with Christina, and I could not look at my phone for the vast majority of, and so when I finally looked like halfway through the first set of games, and I saw, it wasn't even quite halftime of the first game, and Joe Mixon had 3 touchdowns at the time, and literally as I was looking, he scored the 4th touchdown of the first half, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I thought he was going to finish with like 80 fantasy points. It was insane. It was absolutely bonkers.
Well, it was fun watching it. Just not unfold on Red Zone, because you start the day on Red Zone, you're like, all right, let's see what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets his first one. I'm like, all right, that's good for me. It's good for me.
Yeah.
And I think Mostert scored or something. I'm like, all right, that's not good for me. But whatever. That was like his one. And Mixon kept scoring, and I'm like, oh my god, this is it. This is his breakout. This is his breakout game. And it is, and it made all the difference. I do mean all the difference. He was him against your top running back was a plus 39 difference, whereas the rest of the field for me was like minus 21. So he was it. He was the whole team.
He did it. Saquon UC scored 123.6 fantasy points against my measly 104.82. My team was not good enough to overcome that 39-point differential at the running back position. So you and your Joe Mixon just destroyed me. Speaking of which, your team was basically all Joe Mixon. He scored over a third of your fantasy points, almost half of your fantasy points, really. He was over 40%. It was massive. I mean, it was led by him, and Jalen Waddle was your next highest score at 17. So that was a point difference of like 36 points. Mm-hmm. He scored 36 points higher than the rest of your team. Kirk Cousins came in with 16.4 points, and then you proceeded to dunk on me with his catchphrases, even though his point differential against my quarterback was -4. So.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't think I've had a single week where my quarterback hasn't scored like exactly 16. It's always exactly that kind of game. It's like, all right, they throw for 250 yards and like 1 touchdown, or like 2 touchdowns, like 1 interception. It's always exactly that kind of game. And I can't get out. There's nowhere to go. I'm not going to crawl to old man Potter hashtag Aaron Buck over there. Just not going to do it.
That was you weren't lucky enough to or have the balls enough to pick up Justin Fields either. So
it wasn't balls so much as brains.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it just didn't happen. I should have done it. I think mostly I've been like my team has been kind of hanging in there despite their manager, not because of him. I have no bench. I just made all the wrong decisions on my bench, so I have no bench. And here we are.
Mine is the same, but because like I have a bench, but I play the wrong players every single week. Like the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been this case where, I picked the wrong running backs, or I picked the wrong wide receivers to play. This week it was running backs. Last week it was wide receivers. I can't make the right choice.
See, this is why I don't have anybody who's like fake good on my team. I only have people who are like actually good, or no one.
Literally,
or Pacheco.
Literally, the bane of my existence is all of the wide receiver 3s I have on my team. all like I have AJ Brown, and then every single other wide receiver is a wide receiver 3, and I can't pick the right one any week, and it drives me insane. And then now I just have a bunch of like running. I've both now for running backs, and I have too many running backs that could potentially be played, but they're never consistent enough to like actually be reliable in my lineup.
To try them out. Well, I mean, I feel like this is a good sign for us, as is what we're going to talk about later. Which whatever. But just the fact that the waiver wires are kind of skinny, and we have sort of marginal choices on our benches. Like that's probably a good sign.
Yeah, to be honest, it probably is. It means there's nobody else for anybody else to pick up and get better. So that's good. We've got the we've got the leg up, I think. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Oh, maybe I can make some better choices in the future.
Well, I mean, yeah, you didn't have Taylor or Swift in your Taylor Swift lineup this week.
You're right. Well, I didn't trust. I mean, I made the right choice with those. Well, Taylor was out. Swift was limited. So Jamal Williams was the obvious choice, but they didn't. He didn't score any touchdowns, which is kind of the what Jamal Williams does. He for some reason DeAndre Swift always falls over on the 1 yard line. And then Jamal Williams is usually the one that that's happened 4 or 5 times this year already. DeAndre Swift falls on the 1. He gets tackled on the 1, goes out of bounds at the 1, and then Jamal Williams just takes it in the end zone for a touchdown. But this time it was what's his name, the freaking tight end. It was Shane Zylstra had a 1 yard touchdown catch on the 1 yard line. Instead of Jamal Williams taking him for a touchdown. So
see, that's the best play is where the backup tight end gets the ball on the 1. It's the makes every fantasy manager so happy.
TJ Hawkinson is gone. He's the starter.
I stand corrected. Who Zylstra? All right, sure.
No, I don't know. James Mitchell is their other tight end, and he also scored a touchdown. He had 2 catches for 8 yards and a touchdown. So another inside the 10, potentially inside the 5 touchdown for a tight end, which drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So
I love those players that get 2 targets and a touchdown or whatever it was.
The old classic Mike Evans line. One catch for 1 yard and a touchdown. That's the Mike Evans line. But yeah, I mean, my team actually did all right. There was nobody below. I mean, besides my kicker, Evan McPherson, and that was only because they scored 5 touchdowns. So he had 5 extra points for 5 points. Oh no, I'm sorry. He had 6 extra points and he missed a field goal. So he's no longer going to be on my team. Also because he has a bye. So there's 2 reasons why he's not going to be on my team. But other than that, nobody scored below 8.5 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's been the bane of my existence too. In fantasy football, I never take risks. I don't grab the risky players. And that's always been I never have those boom weeks because I feel like I never take I'm always too safe with my players. I'm always scared to let go of the Brandon Cooks or the DJ Moore, mainly because DJ Moore goes off as soon as I let go of him. That makes me more scared to let go of these wide receiver 3s that I've been fucking hanging on to for the entire.
You know what? You're right. You should have predicted that Baker would go in. I don't know what actually happened in this game, but I don't know. The Panthers are sort of an enigma right now. I will talk about the running backs. Jeez, we got. I dropped the wrong one. This is sort of my moment that I'm going to be thinking about all the time this year. Yeah, having this grand strategy to pick up both Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman, and to have a monopoly on this on the backfield in the case of McCaffrey getting traded, which happened.
Yeah.
And then I made a stupid decision. I was trying to keep the Eagles defense and get Butker, whatever. I dropped Foreman because I thought that was the right one to drop. It wasn't. So here we are.
To be fair, he only scored 3 fantasy points this week. So if that makes you feel any better,
you better believe it. You
Yeah.
better believe it. And I'll tell you what makes me even happier is, here's Adam Stovall. Adam Stovall, bless his heart. He tried to get Saquon from me.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to trade, I don't know, it was Deontay Foreman and Miles Sanders, I think, maybe. But he's trying to get, like, Saquon. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. I think this is never gonna happen. I literally cannot give up Saquon. That's like, I thought that was like my whole team at that point. But I mean, I don't know. It was him telling me, okay, listen, you don't got running backs. You can have this one that you dropped if you swallow your pride and give me Saquon for this week, so that you have a chance against Jason, because you don't have a chance otherwise, and then your season's over, buddy. It's over if you lose to Jason.
Well, that's what he was telling me. He was trying to get Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, the only 2 consistently good players that I've had on my team the entire year. Yeah, he was trying to get them, and he's like, "You got a rough 4-game stretch ahead." Like,
no. See, negging, man, negging. It didn't work with women. Didn't work with me, man.
To be fair, I have lost my next 2 games since then, so.
So maybe that came. There's some basis. All right.
But to be honest, I would not have done any better. He offered me like, let me pull it up. Since this is in the past, I think it's legal to talk about this. He offered me, let's see, Tua, Marquise Brown, and Zeke for Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. I was like, no.
Yeah, it's a non-starter. That's a non-starter.
I turned it down immediately.
That's the thing. Like, people try to get people are like, all right, people all have the same problem, right? They try to consolidate depth into a star, and that's just not how you're gonna do it. That's just no one's gonna take it.
Yeah, right. Well,
but everybody tries it. Everybody tries it.
Right. Yeah, it just really depends on, I guess, what you're like, because it depends on. I feel like it depends on how your roster is currently constructed. Like for people who don't have depth, and maybe they want, maybe all of their talent is, centralized into like, these 2 or 3 good players. Like, yeah, you could try to fill in your spots, and hope that the rest of your team can put up kind of good numbers. Or you could maybe, trade away your 1 star player for 2 guys who score maybe that plus 33% each week.
Sure. But but that's not. I don't think that there is even that scenario that could happen in this little 10-team league here. Well, maybe there is, but I haven't seen it. Right.
Yeah, not as frequent for sure.
I can't. Like, I don't know whose team even has this.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh.
I was trying to look into trades, and right now, like I said, I'm kind of looking for a wide receiver too that I can rely on. So I was kind of looking through the teams, and I was like, all right, so I have extra running back depth right now, and so I was trying to find somebody who doesn't have running back depth but also has the wide receiver depth that I'm looking for, and like it doesn't exist.
People are going to keep that person.
Yeah. So yeah, well that's the other thing, and a keeper.
Everybody needs, especially, I mean, like during this stretch of the season, all these bye weeks happening. I mean, everybody's trying to figure out like who's my flex player. That's what kind of my attitude is right now, at least.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's tough. I feel like I don't even send out trade offers because I feel like what I'm doing is not fair. Like I'm always like I'm here wondering if I'm giving the other person a fair trade. And I like when I look at what I've got typed up here, I'm just like, well, they're not going to buy that. Like clearly I'm in it for me. I'm in it for my league's or my team's benefit. and they're not
Right.
going to accept this. So then I just cancel it and I don't send it because
Right. Well, because you don't want to look like the goofy, saucy meatball that is Adam Stovall. That's what we all feel deep down inside.
Yeah, obviously, everybody's trying to get but that's why I was trying to look for somebody who, was, well, like last week would have been a really good week to try to trade for Saquon, like Adam, tried to do, because, there might be somebody out there who, because I know Neil's going to harp on me, and I know you're not a big fan of it either, but in another
Here it comes.
I traded for Saquon.
I gotta take a drink. For you time my other leg here.
You're welcome.
So I'm at home taking a drink.
I traded for Saquon in another league because he literally he sent me an offer before I didn't even try to trade for him until he tried to trade me for freaking, I don't know, David Montgomery. And I realized at that point that he just needed a running back to play this week. And so that's when I was like, I could take advantage of that. But then, it ended up being, I thought a relatively fair trade. I think I traded, what was it, Mark Andrews and DK Metcalf for Saquon plus.
Yeah, those are interesting trade people. I mean, I'd say that immediately any kind of big tight end is gonna maybe you can trade with that easy. Yeah, who knows? But
then Mark
Andrews didn't play.
Yeah, this was before he was ruled out.
So this poor bastard had to play I don't know who he had.
No. I sent him. No, I'm sorry. I got DK Metcalf. I apologize. I got DK and Saquon for Kenneth Walker and Mark Andrews. That was what the trade was. I thought that was pretty fair.
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he played Kenneth Walker this week, who I think did pretty well. And I think he had a backup. He had
a huge game.
Yeah. So we both won. So that works, I think.
Yeah, that Kenneth Walker thing makes me sick because Rashad Penny should be my flex right now.
I'm sorry.
Whatever. I feel like I can. That's not a unique position that I feel, right? It's like, oh no, I'm having trouble with my flex because people are injured. Well, that's everybody in the league, buddy. Stop crying. Me.
Except me. I just have too many good options and I pick the wrong one each week. So there's that. Yeah.
Ron Brazier's.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's that issue. I mean, I've got Ramondre Stevenson. Now I'm not going to probably start Raheem Mostert with, everything that's been going on with him. But then I've got the combination of Jamal Williams or DeAndre Swift and then Cordero Patterson, and Jonathan Taylor. I've got plenty of running backs to play. It's just about picking the right one.
Yeah.
To go in the flex. So, and then I've got AJ Brown, and then I just need a freaking second wide receiver to fill in. That's my team. I have a good team, but it's the last. It's driving me nuts. I'm having a freaking meltdown because the last 2 weeks I feel like my team has severely underperformed for what I feel like it should be able to do.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, you're the commissioner. You are the constructor of this tempered level of anxiety here. I mean, we get to turn the dial up or down on it.
Yeah.
But I think it's all right. It feels all right in here.
Yeah. No, I'm not actually having a meltdown. If I was having a meltdown, it'd be way worse.
I was gonna say, aren't you leading that weak division that is the?
I am.
Two?
I'm still in first in the division.
The B division.
To be fair, basically everybody is. Yeah, there's nobody worse than 3-6, and there's nobody better than 6-3. So everybody's within 3 games of each other, which is not terrible at this point in the season. There's nobody that's 1-7, 1-8. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the state of fantasy football this year. Is nobody's doing well. Is kind of how it seems to be going. So.
Yeah, there's no well, I mean, we'll get to our power rankings, which I've done.
I'm sure you have switched up my power rankings because mine are no longer anywhere close to what they probably should be.
I don't know. I didn't even look at yours. I feel like, well, maybe they're the same. They could be similar.
They're probably not. Yeah. I mean, I still have Aaron at 10. So as I do every week.
I feel like that's a good tradition, but
It
I
is.
don't know. At a certain time, you got to be like, listen, he's gonna fill his depth by dropping Hunter Henry at some point, and then he'll just be fine. Like that's gonna be it.
I still got Ryle at 1.
Shit.
because I've had him there for 4 weeks and he's on a 4-game losing streak. So I can't change it. I think that's just hilarious. That's stuff.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
But that's probably also the reason why Aaron's doing bad. You know what? I might change my rankings this week. Or I mean, Aaron's doing good because he's at the bottom of my power rankings. I might need to change that up.
You gotta do something, man. Somebody's gotta stop this guy.
Gotta stop. There's no reason that he should be doing this good. All right. Anyway, we're way off topic.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about how we can talk about the managers and stuff when we get to these rankings. But
yes,
let's continue on with these matchups, man.
When we get to the weekly awards, yeah, let's move on to matchup number 2. I think we've covered here one more for posterity for Joe Mixon. There we go. Yeah. All right, officially moving on. Matchup number 2, we've got Team CM Keen, aka the Pits, versus Jerry's Kids. And this is crazy. This specific matchup blew my mind. Number 1, Brandon's team putting up 141.5 fantasy points. That's massive. Like you said, Kenneth Walker and Derrick Henry, have massive games. Justin Jefferson, he had 3 guys scoring in the 20s. Like, big game. But then on the other side of this matchup, Team Chad put up 63.2 fantasy points. And that wasn't due to lack of trying. He, believe it or not, put in his optimal lineup with 63.2 fantasy points. That means everybody on his bench
didn't score, basically.
Essentially. He had Nyheim Hines, who had 0 fantasy points. Speaking of which
makes it a lot of fun.
There's a goose. There was a goose in this lineup, and he still
there it is. Traveling south.
Played his optimal lineup. That means he had 0 running backs on his bench scoring any fantasy points.
Which means that he could have started Christian McCaffrey on a bye and still had his optimal lineup. Like, what kind of team is this? This is like a bad one.
I think he's throwing for picks. I think that's it. He's tanking.
Tanking for Christian again.
For Christian.
I don't know.
Could be. So yeah, it was his optimal lineup scored 63.2 points. I mean, he's got Sam Ehlinger on his bench. I don't know why he picked up Sam Ehlinger on a week where they were playing against New England. That was a terrible idea.
I don't really understand it. I mean, like he doesn't intend to. Does he want to start him later?
I don't know. He's got to do something about Matt Stafford in the lineup. I don't know why he would have gone with Sam Ehlinger.
Who's even out there? Okay, he's going to drop Stafford, or not drop him, but replace him with.
Yeah. Let's take a look. I mean, out there. I mean, we've got. Better options than Sam Ehlinger. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah.
We've got Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, Marcus Mariota, Russell Wilson. Those are, I feel like, all better than Sam Ehlinger. As bad as Russell Wilson has been, he's better than Sam Ehlinger this year. Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I mean, at least Russell Wilson has like a head coach or whatever. I mean,
Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke has scored decent fantasy points.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun to YOLO Heineke in there. That'd be kind of a ballsy. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I think it'd be fun if Team Taylor Swift, you make any kind of bold lineup move. It's like you're being fearless.
And lose another game because of it. That's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of that. I can't do it. Plus, I'm not going to throw in any of these quarterbacks over Jalen Hurts. So, not doing that.
Yeah. Better rename your team then. Damn.
I did. I renamed my team.
Oh yeah, you get your bad blood.
Taylor Swift's Bad Blood. I'm out
That's
for
right.
vengeance.
So
So
you're not fearless. You're specifically
yeah, revenge kind of.
yeah.
Yeah, revenge against my last 2 losses, I guess. I don't
You're gonna
know.
take revenge by playing it safe.
By playing it safe. Yes, that's. But yeah, and this matchup was a blowout, and he more than doubled Chad's points here. Like I said, those 3 players, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, and Justin Jefferson, the 3 of them combined outscored his entire team, which I think is always fun. Joe Mixon almost outscored his entire team.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have written down here Chad's lineup from hell. Like this is like from a nightmare is what he's got. Like the whole like.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp scored like almost half of his fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane. It was a lineup from hell.
I also like how Chad's team is like it's like the it's like Cooper Kupp and McCaffrey, like the 2 like best blue-eyed fantasy players or whatever.
White boy skill players that you've ever seen in your life. It perfectly represents Chad. Chad was a white boy wide receiver in high school.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
yeah, maybe there's like a team name somewhere in there. Maybe not.
Yeah, there could be. We'll suss it out.
We'll leave it to him and our viewers.
Yeah. So if you have any ideas on Chad's team name, throw it in the league chat, and maybe I'll force update his team name as if it's that I would break the rules to name somebody's team.
They're the Targaryens. They get all the targets. They're white people.
The whitest
Maybe
white you know. Yeah, we could think of something. The Targaryens. That's good. Oh man. But yeah, I think we've basically covered this matchup. Like we said, he was almost single digits McGee. Very close.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Stafford just scored just above 10, and Cooper Kupp saved you from being single digits McGee. But
congrats to Brandon's kids for doubling up on Chad. Good job. All right, next.
Next. Matchup number 3, we've got Sir Lancelot versus Cooking Some Lamb, and this also was not a close matchup. We had Sir Lancelot taking down Cooking Some Lamb, 126.3 fantasy points to 87.3 fantasy points. Almost exactly. No, it was exactly 39 fantasy points. So that's fun. We had on Team Sir Lancelot, we had Tua putting up 24.08 fantasy points. We had Austin Eckler with 20.6, and I'm burying the lead because Devontae Adams had 31.6 fantasy points, and I'm pretty sure he had close to that number of fantasy points in the first half. He also scored.
He's catching bombs.
Yeah, all of his points in the first half. I think he had both his touchdowns and like 9 of his 10 receptions or something in the first half. So it's something insane.
Did he get Adams in a trade? How did that go down? I don't remember.
Yes, he just traded for him recently with Courts.
You better break that down, podcaster.
That was 2 weeks ago or something like that. It was the DJ Moore trade. That's how I know it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look. I have to go back. We have to go back.
I have to go back.
Do you want to just like riff while I'm looking for this somehow?
Sure. All right. So I renamed Sir Lancelot because there's no Trey Lance. So obviously you can't say Lancelot. No one is lancing right now. No one is lancing, let alone a lot. So you are now Sir Lamb-salot.
Ooh, I like it.
Because guess what? Bloody Cooking Some Lamb doesn't actually have lamb.
That's
They are,
true.
They are all out of lamb. So that brings me to my second renaming. So I mean, you could go a couple of ways. So you got Cook. You got all these running backs that have C. You got Carter. You got Connor. So you give me the killer C's if you want. But
C's.
you also have another running back, Eno Benjamin, for whom his name can you can derive some names out of that. You can go Eno Mountain High Enough.
Ooh.
You can go. I'm not going to top that one. That's going to be the best one.
Mountain High Enough.
I'm just saying, if you were funny and creative, you would have come up with it too, but you didn't.
Sure. All right, here's the trade. I'm sorry, I finally found it. So yeah, your trade with Saquon was pending. This happened on the podcast last week, actually.
It was live.
It was live.
2 weeks ago, because you don't.
No, it was last week. It was 6 days ago.
Oh.
Yeah, Devontae Adams, Dak Prescott, and Cam Akers went to Adam, and $1 of Fab.
Oh, of course.
Yes, and Courts received Deonta Foreman, DJ Moore, and Miles Sanders. 2 waiver wire wonders and Miles Sanders.
That's right. I mean, yeah, because he gets the Panthers' alleged offense.
Yeah, so this is kind of what you're talking about. Consolidating, consolidating
for a star.
Yeah, for a star.
I mean, I don't know. If you're Courts, then you got to do something, I guess.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying. That sort of roster construction where he's got like 1 or 2 guys, but he has no other depth. Mm-hmm. At that point, it might almost be better for your team to, spread that around a little bit. But then the question is like, okay, so I can get, so say, talking about DJ Moore and Deonta Foreman, who number one both played terribly this week. But number two, like, so say Devontae Adams normally on a regular week gets like, I don't know, 80% of that production, maybe 70% of that production. Mm-hmm. Then all you're hoping for from this dud that you put in your, your other slot is 20%, 30% of what Devontae Adams had. And then you've got the equal amount. Whereas most fill-in guys are not only going to be 20, 30%, they're going to be probably 50, 60%. Maybe.
Which, I mean, and you think about, like, I don't know, the thing that I liked about... Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, especially in a 10-team league. That's...
Yeah,
10-team league, you got the depth most of the time.
That's right. So in a more depthy... Not a deep league, but the opposite. Like where people have depth kind of league.
Shallower league.
Then does a player like Devontae Adams, who's sort of known for consistency, is that more valuable or, I mean, less valuable? Probably maybe less.
Yeah, no, you're probably right because you're assuming more teams have a player like that, essentially. Mm-hmm. Unless all of the talent is consolidated on like 3 or 4 teams, which could happen in like a keeper league or, somebody just gets lucky in their draft, Aaron, that like, these players are all consolidated on one team. But in general, yeah, those players are probably less valuable because they're more likely to have a similar player on other teams.
How many perfect drafts in a row do you need to have until you're not just lucky anymore? That's my question for Aaron Buck.
Aaron, come on the podcast and answer that question.
He won't come on. He's too busy plotting his next draft.
Plotting the almost auto draft that he does
so carefully.
Yes. So, yeah, this Sir Lancelot matchup, like we said, the Devontae Adams trade paid off for you this week. Lucky man. And he threw in Curtis Samuel there in the flex spot, which he kind of had to do because he lost the depth in the trade. So,
YOLO pays off.
Yeah, his bench consisted of 0.3 points from Cam Akers, 0 points from Calvin Ridley, which for some reason he has stashed obviously for keeper potential. But he's got Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs. Like, You're
Right.
not going to be keeping Calvin Ridley over either of those guys.
No.
I mean, you shouldn't. Not to say you won't, but you shouldn't. So I don't know why he's hanging on to Calvin Ridley.
I think mainly for the swag of it. I think that's sort of what he's going for. Is just the swag factor.
Yeah. So I don't know. All I know is I never get these types of games when I'm going up against anybody. I think it's Cook and Salam, he only scored 87 fantasy points. I can't remember the last time somebody scored less than 95 against me. So, maybe it's just everybody gets hyped up to play against the commissioner, and I think that's what it is.
Brings the best out of us.
It does, yeah, competition and whatnot.
Just bulletin board material, baby.
Let's take a look. I have the. I guess it is the fourth most points scored against me, so I can't really complain about that too much. But Chad has the second most. Ryo has the most points scored against. 1,046 at this point. Chad is 1,020 or 19.62. And then I'm literally immediately behind Brandon Metzler. He's got 980.84, and I have 980.38. And he was the one that was harping about this for multiple weeks in a row. Like, I'm always playing against the top scorer. But, now you're not, bucko.
Well,
You
that's
played
okay.
against, scored 63 fantasy points this week.
I feel like if you're that bad for that long, you gotta reach for anything.
You gotta have some sort of something to fall back on.
Like year after year, you gotta just find like an external something to blame that's not your own managerial skill. If you're Brandon, I'm saying, I think that's the right way to go. If you're him, just blame something else.
When you're that stoked to come out of a draft with 2 out of the top 3 tight ends and plan on playing them in your flex for the entire year, like, I don't know.
Well, what was so funny this week is that neither of those guys were in.
Yes, they were both out.
So then that kind of begs the question: does that? Sorry, what was that?
He still scored 140 fantasy points. So
yeah, well, I mean that kind of begs the question. It's like, all right, well, maybe he needed, or I don't know, maybe it's like it all gets kind of it's proven out with wins and losses, whether we like it or not, right?
That's true.
Even if it's stupid, even if it's like extra stupid, like me beating you this week,
or like drafting 4 quarterbacks and somehow being good.
Well, hey, I think. Listen, he knew that James Robinson would be traded to the Jets. He knew. He had like a little insider information there.
Yeah, that's insane. I still don't know how that all worked out for him, and it's absolutely bonkers. But
some guys are just born to be fantasy football managers, man. Like there's Aaron Buck is one of them.
Yeah, what can you say? It's all skill. Better to be skillful than lucky, right?
Yeah, that's right. He's. I mean, as far as drafting goes, like he's got the shining, man. He's got something.
Yeah. All right, on to matchup number 4 of last week. This one was a barn burner. We've got James, Team Go Clifford versus newly named Tree and Sucks instead of Owen Tree. Now he's 3-6. So a nice play on those words. I'm glad I had to explain the joke. I didn't have to. I just did it. So I'm sure you all got it, but I just got the sucks part of it.
For those of you who have never heard a joke.
Yeah. So that was actually me figuring it out on the podcast and telling you guys. So there's that. But Team Go Clifford did take down Team Tree and Sucks, 98.22 fantasy points to 85.20.
Yeah,
now,
James beats Courts' running backs with his tight end and his kicker is the note I have here.
Tight end and kicker, Dallas Goedert putting up 20 fantasy points, and Nick Folk, your boy, putting up 17 fantasy points this week. And that scored almost almost half of his fantasy. No, about a third, just over a third of his fantasy points. So pretty good out of those two players. Literally everybody else was he had Lamar Jackson putting up 17.5, and everybody else was under 10 fantasy points. So
I suspect a self-sabotage here from Cortsy. I feel like he's
is he tanking?
He's like, well, he's thinking to himself, here I am, Andrew Corts, a man who has everything. I'll let him have this. I'll let him have fantasy football just this year.
I'll trade away Devontae Adams in the middle of the year for DJ Moore and Donta Foreman.
Who needs him?
Yeah. DJ Moore, prime keeper for next year. All right.
He's like, well, he's coming up, and well, I feel like he's really a good player, or he passes the eye test or whatever. And
I think he looks good on the field, and
well, that's not how Corts thinks. That's how Corts talks, though. He's probably thinking, what is he thinking?
What is he thinking right now? Oh, I'm such a G bag for trading away Devontae Adams for DJ Moore and Donta Foreman. Look what they did for me this week. A total of 6 points. Like,
gosh, 6 points. I could have gotten that from like a.
Devontae Adams had that on his first catch.
Yeah, he accrued that much in like 1 second.
He probably made some sort of algorithm to tell him what the optimal lineups or optimal moves would be for his team, and for
Next
some
year.
reason
It's delayed a year.
He's looking into the future, but he doesn't know it yet, and so he traded away. He traded away Devontae Adams because he thought he was going to fall off a cliff, but it's not actually going to happen until next year. And DJ Moore and Donta Foreman were up and coming for next year. So keep in mind, boys, breakouts for next year: Donta Foreman, DJ Moore. Yes. So there's our matchup analysis on that one. I guess we should go through what Corts did.
Well, he left Fields on the bench is what he did.
He left Fields on the bench, and that is
who could have known?
He lost because of it. Everybody could have known. Over the past month of the year, he's the quarterback one. Do you know that? Over the last 4 weeks, Justin Fields is the quarterback one.
I didn't know that.
On the year, he's quarterback 7. He's a top 10 quarterback for the year.
Oh, Lord.
Well, because he scored 42 fantasy points this week, so there's that.
There's that. Well, the previous part, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Yeah, he had 23 fantasy points 3 weeks ago, 26 fantasy points 2 weeks ago, and now 42. And he's just been sitting on his bench for stupid Kyler Murray, who hasn't done anywhere close to as good as that. So, who would have thought that people would be telling you to play Justin Fields over Kyler Murray at this point in the year? Halfway through the year, if you had told that Justin Fields would be better than Kyler Murray for fantasy football, would you believe him?
No, I would not. And so maybe the 2 lessons to take away from that are like maybe picking a quarterback early isn't always going to maybe sometimes it'll pay off, but not always. And then secondly,
yeah, but he's the one.
Be a good manager and get the good guy off of waivers when it's the right time, which I didn't do.
Yeah, well, he's the one. Like, Justin Fields is the only one. I feel like that's been good outside of the top, however many quarterbacks. Like, normally, I feel like you can find somebody on waivers most of the time that would be able to put up like 18 to 20 fantasy points, and you're good with that but like 18 to 20 fantasy points this year from a quarterback is almost a commodity. Like, I feel like it's been a lot more rare this year to have a quarterback that's putting up those type of numbers.
Well, I mean, it's true. You can look at specific people, right? I mean, you can look at Stafford, and look at the top whatever. Brady.
Stafford's not at the top of anything right now.
Yeah, no, it's true.
No, but I know what you mean. Like, yeah, I mean, but Brady wasn't drafted in the top 5.
I see. Maybe I'm thinking about that Brady just because he's like one of Buck's quarterbacks here. But
Yeah.
what
Well,
quarterback? Buck has Mahomes, Burrow, Brady,
Herbert. Yeah.
Yeah, and Herbert has kind of a weird situation too. It's like an odd.
Well, Herbert.
Keon's hurt.
Yeah, literally everybody's hurt. Mike Williams is hurt. Like Josh Palmer is his wide receiver 1 right now. So like, yeah, he has nobody. He's like kind of in an Aaron Rodgers type of conundrum with, no wide receivers.
Well, he's just got to learn. Hey, listen, man, you got to just throw it to. Huh?
Ayahuasca.
Oh, no, I was gonna say. No, you just gotta throw it to Everett every time. Just throw it to Everett. I'll put him in my lineup. They're not related things, but you just gotta trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, there you go. I'll send this straight to Justin Herbert, so that he gets those notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you look at back to our quarterback discussion. Like, you look at the top 3. Let's look at the top 3 that were drafted. It was probably Josh Allen, number 1. Pat Mahomes, who has been good recently. He had a rough start, but recently he started to pick it up. Pat Mahomes. And who would be the third? The third one off the board was
Murray, right? Well,
probably
here,
was
I'll pull it up.
So he was probably a dud.
Jackson?
Lamar Jackson might have been next. And he's been okay, but like he's had a few down weeks here recently.
Yeah, Jackson was 3.9.
Yeah, and then it was I think I grabbed Hurts in the 5th or the 6th.
Yeah, it was 6.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's been tough. Like outside of those players, like there's not a lot of guys that you like playing each week. I guess Tua's been the other one. Tua and Justin Fields have been the 2 maybe outside of the top consensus top 12 that whereas in the past I feel like you have like 12 or 13 quarterbacks who could put up a decent week every single week. So I feel like the depth has shrunk has shallowed at the quarterback position. So,
or is it just an illusion from Buck getting 4 of those quarterbacks?
It could be. I mean, I feel like quarterback is turning into like almost like a tight end type of position.
Oh, so where there's 4 of them.
Yeah, there's 4 at the top, and then after that, you're just kind of like scratching and clawing for a decent week.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's still quarterback versus tight end. How similar are they? I would hope not. I think I would think that no. I would say no. I disagree.
I didn't say that they're the same. I said that I felt like quarterback was trending towards like this year specifically because a lot of the defenses are starting to play the too high against everybody. So they're forcing everybody to dink and dunk their way down the field. And that's causing offenses to stall. The scoring has been down this year in general. And that's causing, those big plays that you like to see in fantasy football, are not happening. So the scores in general have just dropped. So you get the benefit of all of those rushing quarterbacks who open up the field because they need an extra defender to just watch them.
There should be like a doomsday clock for or whatever, whatever George Bush with his, oh, it's orange today.
Yeah.
Whatever. It should be like, all right. So how much are these teams playing too high versus single high? It's like, all right, what is this? What's the weather like for passing?
Yeah.
Year by year, I don't know.
It's a lot now. I mean, ever since people switched to the too high to stop Pat Mahomes, like that's what everybody started to do. So, and they realized that you have more chances to stop an offense if you're making them go 5 yards at a time down the field as opposed to 20, 30.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing that was evident even in Andrew Kortz's calculator football program, right? You want to get chunk plays to avoid exposure to turnovers and
Right.
negative plays.
Yeah.
Which I think he probably adjusted his code, but that's it's a weird thing I remember from it.
But it's I mean, I feel like it's an important, like, the more times the more plays the offense has to run, the more likely a pick or a fumble or any of that's going to happen. Whereas if you're moving down the field at 50 yards at a time, obviously that's not going to happen as frequently. But I don't know. I guess as interceptions go, you feel like longer passes have more of a chance to get picked off than shorter passes. So I don't know. That's how you feel anyway. I don't know the actual stats on that. It might be wrong.
Yeah, who knows? I feel like, I don't know. When the Steelers play, I feel like any pass can get picked. Like, it's in the air, I'm holding my breath, man.
But then when it's on the ground, you're also holding your breath because the offensive line is trash. So,
well, no, if it's not in the air, it's just like it's going to be 0 yards. It's going to be Najee for 20 and 0.
The old catch 22. Catch 22. Ha! Because he's number 22.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of the Steelers, I got a new name for Kortz's team as well. If he doesn't want to be, if he's looking,
it's a one-week team name. Trian sucks, so he's got to change it next week.
All right, yeah. So he's got Fields. That's always a good name for a pun.
Yeah.
He's got Pickens. So, listen, you got Fields. If he was ever to throw a ball to Pickens, it would be Fields for Pickens. I'm just saying.
That's awesome. That's a good one. Fields for Pickens. That's a good one. Courts, listen up. Maybe a new team name for next week. After you're no longer Trian sucks, you could be Trian. I can't think of something for 7. So we're gonna move on instead.
It's simply not a team name that's built for 7 losses. So you can't let yourself get there, buddy.
Exactly. Well, yeah, maybe that's the whole point. Moving on to matchup number 5, we've got the Young Hoes versus Team Buck Nasty 20, aka Big Herbs, who is not playing this week. And as we said, we've got the top scorer of the week in this matchup. Aaron Buck had 148.34 fantasy points, which we said at the top, and he beat down the Young Hoes, who only scored at 90.8 fantasy points. Leading team, Aaron, did you have any specific notes for this, Benaiah?
All I got here is that the Rye-Hos lost with their Pats D scoring like 28, which is kind of too bad. That's looking like a good sign, man.
Yeah, that's a very bad sign. And yeah, he had the top and the bottom of his lineup actually had like good fantasy days. Like his quarterback, number 1, his defense was the top scorer over Josh Allen. Josh Allen only scored 24.8, and everybody else was under 8.5 fantasy points. Not good. Not good. So yeah, that's all I need to say on that.
Buck got the top week with his nasty Chiefs is kind of how I see them. They're basically the Chiefs of old, but they're like it's run by assembled by Buck Nasty. So you got yourself the nasty Chiefs.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill is the nasty part of that because he's the one that's no longer on the Chiefs, right? Mm-hmm. And somehow he predicted, like you said, the James Robinson trade, who got him 12.3 fantasy points. Not a bad day for his second week on the Jets. And he went to a winning team. Like, good for James Robinson, number 1. He went to a winning team who beat the Buffalo Bills this week. Like, the Jets are no joke, man. Their defense is good. if they had a good quarterback, they'd actually be a really good team. Said they got Zach Wilson. So
I mean, he's got his mind on other things right now. He's just got to.
yeah, getting with his friends' moms or whatever. Isn't the whole thing?
Yeah,
like
that's
his
yeah.
room. His ex-girlfriend got with his roommate, and then like he got with his friend's mom or something.
Yeah, I feel like you got a lot of friends, a lot of moms. I mean,
He's got a lot of work to do.
maybe it won't take as long as he thinks, though.
Because he can only get with his friends' moms.
Only so many friends, only so many moms. It's a finite number.
Yeah. I don't even know what I'm saying. Travis Etienne, though, he has been freed by from the shackles of James Robinson. James Robinson is no longer eating into his workload, and he's now getting 28 carries for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with, well, only 2 catches for 17 yards. But like everybody thought Travis Etienne was going to be this like huge like PPR guy, getting a whole bunch of catches, blah blah blah.
Psych carries.
Yeah, ever since James Robinson was gone, I think he's only had like 5 or 6 catches in the last 3 games total.
Mm-hmm.
And all of his work has been on running the ball. So he's been a monster, and making everybody who didn't draft him look stupid. Like I didn't draft him in the 3rd round because I didn't see a chance for upside with James Robinson there, and now I look like an idiot because both of them are good.
I was naive enough to think that he would fall to me in the 3rd to 3-7, but that just didn't happen. And I mean, so I guess I'll take this opportunity to talk a little bit about my draft strategy, because I'm on the show.
Yeah.
So I committed to drafting 3 running backs right away. I committed before the draft even started. I was like,
you took my Saquon right away.
Yeah, yes. So this was the big decision I had to make in the 1st round was who to draft, DeAndre Swift or Saquon Barkley. And there were sort of odd, like off scenarios where Kelsey drops to me. Like, what kind of team do I make if I get Kelsey at the 1? But mostly I had to decide at 1-7, do I pick Barkley or Swift? That was the thing I thought about for days. Did so many mock drafts, and I thought to myself, wait a minute. So the Lions like Javonte, or whatever his name is, Jamal Williams. Like, they're going to run the ball. And They suck, probably. I didn't know that they're going to suck or not, but I'm like, Barkley reminds me he's like a Barry Sanders sort of type guy. Like, and he's a guy I thought I'd not get years ago, right?
Yeah.
How old is he? 25? Let's pick him. Who cares? And that's how it went.
See, for me, there wasn't even a choice there. If it was Saquon Barkley or DeAndre Swift, it was for sure Saquon Barkley. Like, I've been looking at him for weeks. I was like, all right, there's no way. Because at that point, he was going at like the end of the 2nd or the 3rd round in a lot of drafts because they weren't keeper leagues, obviously. But so I was like, oh, nobody's going to be actually looking at him in the middle of the 1st round. I was like, that's going to be safe. Like, I thought it was the safest pick ever because like I thought for sure nobody was going to take him. So I didn't even consider the possibility
of not having Saquon.
And so when you drafted Saquon right in front of me, I tilted off of the face of the planet. Like I had my whole draft strategy was thrown off because I had no idea what to do at that point, and I only had 2 minutes to decide if I wanted stupid DeAndre Swift or somebody else.
Well, no, that's the answer. Well, I think your hand was forced. I think that's kind of what I was thinking too. There's nobody, and I was thinking also like.
I think the next pick was like Najee,
right.
or maybe Najee wasn't on the board. I don't know if Najee was kept, but like that would have been like a similar style, like around the same area pick.
I think it would have been Najee or Devontae Adams that you.
Yeah, it might have been
had to choose from.
Yeah. And I should have gone with Adams because I already had Jonathan Taylor. So, like, there's no... but I thought I could double up on, like, superstar running backs, right? and I was like, going to be set for the year.
I get it. I don't think. Listen, I think in your position, I don't think Adams was like even a rational. Like I worked out the same stuff that you did probably.
Yeah, we were right next to each other, so I'm sure we were in the similar predicaments throughout the entire draft. So.
So I committed to Barkley keeping Joe Mixon at 2, not knowing if he was going to be there at 2-4 or not. Probably the right decision. And then round 3, it was just like, all right, got to take somebody, got to take some running back, and it turned out to be Dobbins, which was a miss. But and then receivers, hope for a flex, and then get to tight end and quarterback late. This was my whole draft.
That's mostly what I tried to do this year too. Was I was looking at exactly like you, like rounds 4 through 9. There were good wide receivers in every single one of those rounds that I was willing to draft, and I was like, any of these guys, like I picked out like probably 8 or 10 guys that I could see potentially being top 10 or top 15 wide receivers, even.
Right.
Going back all the way to rounds 8 and 9, I was like, this guy has potential upside. This guy has potential upside. Like any of these could break out and be the guy. And
this is exactly what I saw too. I saw rounds 5 through. Yeah. I have I had a note. I wrote it out. I'm like, any of these guys. I have it's circled rounds 5 through 9. Any of these wide receivers.
Right, and that's how I got stuck with 5 wide receiver 3s. So that's what happened to me, and we'll see. I mean, my team could turn it around here now that people are getting healthy on my team, and was there a point like 2 weeks ago? What would you have traded Joe Mixon for? Probably like nuts on the dollar. Like
I don't know.
He wasn't that great.
I mean, I feel like my thing with Joe Mixon is that I know that he's not threatened. Really.
Yeah.
He's not he's got Rashad Penny or no, I'm sorry, what's his name? Ryan. Samaje, not something P Ryan.
Samaje P Ryan.
Samaje P Ryan. Yeah. He's he's good, but he's like the same kind of Adrian Peterson build sort of dude who's who's worse at the stuff that Mixon does. So I don't know, just volume. I probably would have stuck with him also because I've always had him.
Yeah. At this point,
just
committed.
Whatever. Just you wait for the breakout week, I guess. But
yeah. Well, I don't know. Has my camera has slowly been going up, hasn't it? I didn't realize that.
Not slowly. I think you pounded your fist on the table when
it popped
on saying the word Saquon, I think.
Yeah. That's how mad I was about it. But
well, you said you were talking in your sleep or something.
Yes. Yeah, like it wasn't even the same day. It was like many days later. Christina said at like 5 a.m. I was talking in my sleep, something Saquon, and I like laughed. I think she was like Saquon. She was like, you're like Saquon Barkley, and then you laughed, and I was like, what? I was still tilting off the face of the earth because I didn't get Saquon in any of my stupid leagues. And this was my last chance because we drafted so close to the,
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I was going to get him. And I was like, there's no way I'm not going to get him. And then I didn't get him. And it made me so mad.
Well, I mean, maybe that's a good sign if I made the same evaluation that everybody else did.
Yeah. Well, you made the same evaluation that I did, at least. So,
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say? I mean, I think we're the best, best players in this league. So.
According to my bench, jeez.
Hey, it doesn't matter who's on your bench, only who's in the starting lineup. Am I right?
I don't know. We may, if that's the case, then we're all in Bucks League.
Oh, jeez. Well,
or Adams League. I don't know. We'll see how your power rankings shake out after this segment.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We're gonna first do the weekly awards here. So just going through, how everybody did. So the best team, as we were saying at the top, was Aaron. As we were saying during his matchup, the worst team was Chad. Also, the most efficient manager was Chad. And I think this is the first time, and probably the last time, that that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, nobody better at being bad than Chad.
The worst, the worst team and the most efficient manager in the same week. Very brutal. The least efficient manager was Quartz. I was surprised it wasn't me, but it was Quartz. He scored 85 out of a possible 112.22 fantasy points. So that's what 75% or something ish. Not quite, but
I suppose we should shout out. To all of you who didn't officially get the most efficient manager, but you had like good weeks that weren't quite. You missed a point or two. Good job, but you don't get it. It is actually Chad who wins it. That's the rules.
Yeah, we did have. I think Ryo was pretty close to his most efficient week. I think he, like you said, he was like a point or two maybe off of his optimal lineup. But yeah, Chad, the worst team in the league, got exactly his highest potential outcome. So congratulations to Chad. Good work, buddy. The highest points in the loss was me, unfortunately, with 104. The lowest points in the win was James with 98. So actually, we were kind of close to having the top 5 scorers and the lowest 5 scorers got the wins, but didn't quite get there, unfortunately for me. The biggest blowout was Brandon, who put up 140 over Chad's 63. The narrowest victory was James, and that was a 13-point game. Oh no, yeah, 13-point game. So we didn't have any barn burners this week. The overachiever was Aaron, and the underachiever was Chad, to nobody's surprise. So yeah, that was
efficient underachieving.
Efficient underachieving. Actually, if everybody had scored their optimal lineup, Brandon actually would have gotten the highest score this week, but he didn't. He got second. So there's that. Actually, the one thing that I did want to bring up was, so I've got my spreadsheet full of all of the awards over the year. This is the third time Chad's had the worst team of the week, and that's the most out of everybody. Quartz and Neil both have 2, but Chad has 3. Anybody else that has 3 in a category? Oh yeah, Aaron has the worst luck award currently. He has 3 times he's had the lowest points in the best luck award, lowest points in a win.
I was gonna say Aaron has the lowest points scored against him.
Yeah. So
generally,
so best. So those are the only 2 people that have 3 of a certain category. So it's been pretty much like we were saying. It's been pretty balanced. Most people having 1 or 2 in most categories. I'm gonna put it out there. I mean, me and 4 other people have not had the worst team yet. Probably because Chad had it for most of the weeks. I've also not had the most efficient manager. Also, Ryo has not been the most efficient. He was very close this week. And Aaron has not been the most efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And Quartz also has not been most efficient. So you have had it once.
Yeah, I nailed it. I nailed my 100%
optimal
one week.
Nice. I've had 1 least efficient manager, but people who have avoided that, surprisingly, actually, is James. Has not had a least efficient week.
Well, he's like the best lineup setter ever, though.
That's true. Yeah, he always somehow picks the stupid, people off the waiver wire that score way more than his bench for some reason.
It's like, okay, what's gonna screw over Benaiah in week 15? Like it's like,
yeah.
This team.
Well, you always bemoan about how much of a bad manager you are, but you have also never been the least efficient manager on a week. And also,
because my bench is so bad.
You have to play all these players.
Yeah, my hand is forced every week.
Other choices. Yeah. So yeah, no other. The other big, nobody taking specific categories to the extremes. For the most part, it's been pretty evenly balanced here. So let's go into the power rankings for this week. We've got. I'm going to change it up. No, I'm not going to change it up. I'm keeping Ryo at the top spot because he's got to be there.
Because his team is so good. Is why
Because
you're
his
putting
team
him
is
there.
so good. You can't put him anywhere else. And these are where they've started to change. I've had me at the number 2 spot, but now I'm punishing my team. They are no longer at the 2 spot. We're sitting at the 4 spot this week. Oh, I'm sorry, I ruined that. But that reveal, we know I'm at the 4 spot now. Adam's at the 2 spot. I moved him up. He's with the recent trade for Devontae Adams, and I think his team is good and stuff. Benaiah, I got you at 3. I moved you above me. You moved up in the power rankings. So, like I said, I think you've got some the solid starters. You've got a very good starting lineup, and as long as that doesn't have to change too much, I think you're going to be in good shape. I'm at 4. I've got Chad at 5. I didn't change the bottom half of these, I don't think at all. But I'm going to move. Actually, I'm going to move Aaron up above Chad. In episode change, Aaron is moving up to the 5 spot, right below me. Probably should be above me. You know what? No, I'm moving him up to 4. Moving him up to 4. Aaron, because of your 4 QBs, you're moving up to the 4 spot. You're at the 4 spot. I'm at the 5 spot. Chad's at the 6 spot. Neil 7, 8 Brandon, 9 Courts, and 10 I got James.
So it's Brandon, Courts, and James at the bottom, eh?
Yes.
Okay. So all right. So mine is sort of similar, but there are little certain differences. So number 1 for me, I have Saucy himself, Adam Stovall.
The meatball.
The goofy meatball slathered in it. There he is. He sits at the 1 spot. He's got a good team. There's no denying it. And who knows? If he just believes in his players, just it really comes down to just belief. Maybe this could be his year. Who knows?
And admitting you're going to lose every single week.
Well, I mean, that too. It's all part of a grand strategy. It's organizational culture. Number 2 is Jason Poco Peckers Peck.
Oh yeah. Oh, Poco Grande, huh?
Poco Grande, yeah. Dos, Numero Dos. So you're at number 2 for me. Yeah, good team, good depth, and you're in the weak division, which helps.
It does help.
D2 team, the best of the D2 teams. This is what you have. Number 3 is myself. I'm number 3. A decent team, good starters, not very good depth due to the manager. So number 4.
I can help you with depth if you would prefer to unconsolidate your talent.
Yeah, do you want Chase or Barkley? Because that's what everybody wants.
I want Barkley, of course.
Do you want both?
I'll take both.
All right. Okay. Number 4, I have Aaron. Ron. Ron Buck. Yeah, he has the magic touch on the clicker when it comes to drafting, so you can't deny it. He's just he's like Harry Potter with the touchpad. So that he always rides that draft to the playoffs in the end. So he's at the 4 spot for me. Number 5 is a little controversial. Number 5 is the Dogfather. Yes, it is Clifford, the Big Red James. Yes, James is at number 5. Why is James at number 5 when he's at 10 for you? Well, because James is 1, gonna make the playoffs, and 2, probably beat me. So I got to put him high.
But like, I mean, so he's got. Let's look at his team quick. Let's look at his team. He's got Lamar Jackson as his starting quarterback, but he has Nick Chubb, which is obviously a big boon for his team. But then he's got Najee,
Mm-hmm.
and then like who else? Who else is on his team? You're keeping him at 5?
Yeah, because he's gonna make the playoffs. He's gonna win his next matchup.
All right.
He's gonna beat Chad next week. He's gonna make the playoffs, and I'm saying like he's just like a random.
No,
He's
you're
like
right.
the wild card threat. If there
Chad
ever
is
was
too
one.
high. Chad is too high in my rankings. To be honest, I didn't really touch the bottom half of the power rankings. I just switched around those ones at the top. But you're right. Chad's team needs some help. So yeah, he's got a decent matchup here.
Mm-hmm. So James is at 5 for me.
Okay.
Six income Brandon's kids through the doorway. 7 is Ryo. I don't know if I got Brandon has an okay team. Brandon's a good team.
Yeah, that's a decent.
Maybe both his tight ends are going to come back and he'll have the team that he always dreamed of with Waller in the flex. We'll see. Number 7 is Ryo with his with the Ryhos. Ryo and the Ryhos at number 7.
So that should be his new team name.
Mm-hmm. And then the very bottom are the teams which deserve no elaboration. We have Chad, Neil, and Quartz at the very, very bottom. We have Owen forever. This is the order. Chad, Neil, and Quartz.
Man, going from first to worst there, Quartz, huh? He doesn't really have much to show off. I mean, he's got the trophy in his house now, but like, he's not really backing it up, is he?
No, certainly not. It's a rebuilding year, retooling year, reloading year, whatever kind of
after he
whatever he wants to call it.
For a victory when he picked CMC, 101 last year, somehow won it all. Craziness. Yeah. That's it. They're pretty close. You're right. They're pretty close. You shifted around, and rightfully so, shifted around the bottom half of the power rankings because I had not done so in a couple of weeks, to be honest. So yeah, that I think is much more reasonable than mine. I obviously have some biases. Like I think Ryo's team is just the best in the league, so he's at the top as always because his team is so good. Like. I don't know why he's got this many losses because his team is just fantastic. Like, it's like his season is almost synonymous to the Packers season. Like, for some inexplicable reason, he's lost 4 in a row. And the Packers have lost 5 in a row. And I don't understand it. His team continues to be the best. And it's just...
Well, I mean, Ryo, if anything, he proves the phrase "winning isn't everything."
What a great burn. That's a good one. A good one. All right. Enough on the power rankings. We all know who's good and who's bad in the league, and it's me and not Ryo. No, I'm just kidding. No, I can't say that. Ryo, your team is good. Your team is going to continue to be good, and my team sucks. That's why I moved me down.
Before we move on, I'll have to. I gotta say, so on the app you can look at advice from the Fantasy Pros, and it gives you the playoff odds in a percentage. Now, I don't know if that's actually is that the real playoff odds, or is that according to a formula that is not the one that we use?
That is a good question. Where are you seeing this at?
It's like right panel. There's all those icons that go down, and then there's a at the very bottom of this.
Very bottom, Fantasy Pros advice. Number 1, I don't know how much I trust the Fantasy Pros, but
listen, just because you have a podcast doesn't mean that you know what you're talking about. Let's just say that.
It recommends moves that you should make. They're telling me for week 10 to start Jamal Williams over DeAndre Swift again.
It's telling me to trade you Jamar Chase and Saquon Barkley.
I think that's probably right. Actually, Fantasy Pros is pretty spot on, I think. So you're saying if you playoff odds here, I have a 78% chance of making the playoffs, 12% chance of being the champion. Hey, that's better than my odds at the beginning of the the season, right? Yeah, at the beginning of the season you got 10%. I mean, I guess it's skewed based on your keepers probably, but 1 in 10.
Mm-hmm.
My projected record this season is 7-7. They're projecting me to go 7-7. Those chodes. They're wrong. Now my team is motivated to do better than 7-7. I need to win out. I'm gonna win out. This is gonna be the run.
You believe that you're winners. They
This
have a
is
winning
the-
team.
This is it.
All right, bulletin board material. Very good.
I'm gonna finish 7-4.
But
No,
here's
sorry, 7-4. I'm sorry, 10-4.
But here's the question for you: are you going to win the next game against Aaron Buck?
That's a good question. We'll get to that after this next segment.
Weekly waiver wire studs.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Now, did this team actually kick ass and chew bubble gum, or were we able to beat it? Let's find out. In the quarterback spot, we have Baker Mayfield. He was the top scoring waiver wire quarterback despite only playing half of the game. He scored 14.2 fantasy points. This tells you the state of the quarterback position these days, Benaiah. Like
Yes,
I was
it
saying.
does.
14.2. In the running back spot, we've got Jeff Wilson Jr., who is a backup running back who came in and, maybe he's not so much of a backup anymore. He's got 14.7 fantasy points. In the running back 2 spot, we've got Raheem Blackshear, like a sheep, like you shear a sheep. 13.3 fantasy points. This is looking good for our teams here. We've got wide receiver 1, Mecole Hardman, with 16.9 points. We've got wide receiver 2, Darnell Mooney, with 14 fantasy points. We've got tight end Cole Kmet with 19.5 fantasy points. In the flex spot, Terrence Marshall, the 6th highest scoring position player. Not position. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess it's position player, right? No.
Skill player?
Skill player. 6th highest scoring skill player on the waiver wire was 12.8 fantasy points. Terrence Marshall. The Lions defense put up 16 fantasy points against the terrible Packers. And the kicker, Riley Patterson, put up 10 fantasy points. This team, overall, if you've been keeping count, has only put up 131.4 fantasy points, which means, once again, for the second week in a row, we had two teams outscore.
Who did it last week?
Last week was the 2 top scorers were. Sorry, I should have had this written down, but I have to go back to last week's stuff. Chad and Adam both outscored the waiver wires this week, or last week. And this week was Brandon and Aaron.
Wow.
Yes. And Adam was close again. He was 5 points shy.
Really sticking it to him.
Yeah. So I was saying last week I wanted to give them 2 losses because 2 of our team, but then that would screw up the whole, 7 and they're 7-2, but
it's a little odd, isn't it?
2 losses for each week, it would be 7-4, but we've only played 9 weeks, so that doesn't work.
You figure? I think we have it right here because they have this whole mass of players from which to choose from, right? So it's just one of our teams versus all of them. That's fair.
Yeah, that's true. But also, they have the reason they keep winning, way higher odds that one of those players goes off,
Mhm.
Even though I'd like to know the odds, actually, because, like, you've got all the best skill players supposedly on all of the teams. You know, I don't know. I guess it's just a numbers game, right? Somebody's got to go off. It's not always the skill player, the star players of each team. But yeah, let's so yeah, congratulations. We beat down on the waiver wire. I just love this drop. One of my favorite drops. So yeah, we'll move on to our last segment because unless you have something from the mailbag off the top of your head, this will be our last segment. You have about 10 minutes to think about it. So we'll go through this next matchups.
week's matchup predictions.
I can see the future. I have to stop you from joining the ring. In the future.
We already did that.
I knew you'd do that.
So we're trying to predict the future here. Last week I did pretty good. I went 3-5, and I beat down Adam, who was only 2-5. So suck it, Adam. This is what really matters in fantasy football: is me picking who's going to win the next week's matchups. So
That's right. And Adam legally has to suck it.
yeah, legally, Adam, suck it. So yeah, let's look forward, see if Benaiah can beat me this week coming up. So let's look at the first matchup for next week, which is Team Taylor Swift's Bad Blood. Sorry, I renamed it. Versus Team Buck Nasty. Now, right now it looks like it's going to be a beat down because Team Buck Nasty does have many players on bye, which might come back to haunt him this week. We'll have to see. He does have a replacement, obviously, for his quarterback spot, but he's pretty slim at the old running back position. So he's got Travis Kelce coming back from a bye, but after that, he's got to throw Etienne and Gibson in there in his running back spot and fill in his flex.
So is that Judy? Or,
yeah, it's got to be Jerry Jeudy
or whoever.
That's the only player he's got.
Not that bad, I guess.
Yeah. So
I'm taking Aaron Buck in this matchup, and I'm counting on him to humiliate you with his 4 quarterbacks.
I'm sorry for you because I'm going to win this matchup. I've already got me in as the winner, of course. Look at all of my great matchups I've got. Look at this. Jalen Hurts versus Washington. Cordero Patterson versus Carolina. DeAndre Swift and or Jamal Williams versus Chicago.
See, that's the thing. Like Cordero Patterson and or, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Cordero Patterson scored 18 fantasy points last week, coming off of an injury that he was out for 2 months.
Yeah, Tyler, they're getting the ball to Tyler, what's his face, too. I mean, they're going to stop giving it to Tyler.
I think they will. I think the only reason he got
a rookie? They were waiting for him to get hurt. He's like 33 or something.
He's a late round rookie. Cordero Patterson is better than Tyler Algier. I guess I see it as they should give Cordero Patterson more touches because he's old.
We'll see.
In a year that doesn't matter for the Atlanta Falcons,
you just run the wheels off.
Yeah, why would you not do that? If you see, I don't know. That's how I see it. But, I think Cordero Patterson is just better. Algier is a late round running back that they have almost no investment in, right? He's a 4th or 5th round pick, I think. Maybe even later. I don't know.
That doesn't necessarily mean he's still a rookie. I fear any kind of rookie running back that they went out and got, generally.
Yeah, I guess, but they had no depth in the running back position, so they needed something.
That's true. They didn't have any players, did they?
They had nobody. They had what's his name with an O. I don't know his last name. It started with an O. Somebody that nobody knows. But anyway, I don't know. Christian Kirk versus Kansas City, like, Juju versus Jacksonville on the other side of that. I don't know. I just think my matchups are fantastic for my players. So,
I mean, you just mentioned Kirk and Juju. I don't know. You got Tyreek Hill and Lockett on the other side. Are like, in my mind, those are more, there's a little better.
That's what you think. You think Tyler Lockett? I guess Tyler Lockett has been the wide receiver 9 for this year.
I mean, I don't trust Juju, right? I mean, you think, okay, Juju, he's sort of playing the Kelsey. He's doing the Kelsey most for a lot of it. So maybe
I mean,
there, but I feel like just they're throwing the ball everywhere. So who knows?
I guess, but the last 3 games he's played, like he had the bye week 8, but he had, almost 14 last week. He had 21 week 7, or almost 22. He had 21.9, and then he had 19.8 the week before. Like, I feel like he's becoming the 1A or 1B to Kelsey. I mean, obviously they're looking for Kelsey in the end zone, so he's getting a lot of the close touchdown looks. But Juju is one of those guys who could, get a longer touchdown.
Yeah. And you figure like you're talking about Swift as like a guy who doesn't get the ball across the line or whatever. I think Juju is one of those guys too. So maybe you got that going for you. Regardless, I'm picking Buck Nasty's Nasty Chiefs in this matchup.
All right, man. It's your funeral. Everybody underestimates me. I see how it is. I'm gonna win. Matchup number 2, we've got your matchup, Saquon UC versus Sir Lancelot. Let's see, we've got, Aaron Jones. Also, Aaron Jones is questionable, but Austin Eckler, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Tua Tagovailoa, TJ Hawkinson, who got a lot more work than I thought in Minnesota. Won. Devontae Adams in the flex. That's a flex if I've ever seen one.
Mm-hmm. So I got to tell you, I think this one's over before it even started. I think this one's going to go straight to Adam. Maybe I should sit on my players. In fact, I think he's got this one in the bag. I want to guarantee it for him personally on this podcast that Adam will come away with the big dub in this matchup.
Next level strats right away before the season, before the week even starts. Next level strats from Benaiah Samke. So yeah, I also have Adam winning this matchup because his team is just better. Yeah, and I won't delve any further into that. I know that you see a loss coming, from a mile away. So, I got you. I see what's going on here. We're playing some games. We're playing games within games. That's what this is all about. All right, matchup number 3. We've got Team Chad Keen versus Team Go-Go Clifford. Now, this is a heavyweights matchup if I've ever seen one. For sure.
Oh gosh. Well, like I said before, I have Clifford for this one. I got the big red dog. Big red dog father. Taking this one. James.
I'm gonna disagree with you, actually. I know that we were just hating on Chad's team and how bad it is, but he's got CMC back this week. And actually that's all he's really got going for him.
CMC he scored 0 last week though.
He did score 0. You're right. His average, if you were to extrapolate that,
there's no excuse. There's no excuse for that, man.
It'd be 0 points. So, no, I mean, both teams have some bad matchups too. Yeah, I'm gonna just be different. I could either go like 0 for 5. Because I'm going against you for almost every pick, or we could just even out and both be like 2 and 5 or 3 and 5. We'll have to see how this goes. We'll keep going. I'm going with Chad for this matchup because I think CMC is going to come out with a vengeance after getting a goose last week. So on to the next matchup. We've got Tree and Sucks, the temporary team name for Andrew Kortz's team, versus the Young Hoes. Who you got?
All right, so
Wait,
for Pickens, I'm sorry, I don't got you for this one. I got the Rye Hose.
The Rye Hose
in this
Are
matchup.
we doing confidence picks?
Oh gosh, you know what? This was my idea, and I forgot to do it. I could. I mean, we could announce it all, and then we could say the confidence. I could tell you.
Okay.
Right? So, but
All
let's get through the list here.
Yeah, sorry. So you picked Ryo's team here, right?
That's right.
He's got Justin Fields back in the lineup here in a good matchup against Detroit. And he's got, Deonta Foreman and DJ Moore both in against Atlanta here. I think, even though we'll have to see if Josh Allen even plays. Does your pick change if Josh Allen doesn't play?
I mean, you can't change it, so that's how I'm going to answer that question.
I mean, if I talk about it right now, before the week happens, I can retroactively change it because we talked about it before the game started.
No, see, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take a page from your book, Taylor Swift, and I'm gonna make a fearless pick and say that he will play, and that Ryder's gonna take it.
All right, sounds good. I went the other way. I'm taking Kortz's team, so we got some close matchups here this week. We're going to either side of. Speaking of close matchups, this one is projected to be within a point currently, although one team does not have a defense that is playing this week in their lineup. We've got Jerry's Kids versus Cooking Some Lamb, the falsely named Cooking Some Lamb, because Lamb is no longer in their team. So who you got for this matchup?
Well, I got Brandon, or wait, hold on, yeah, I got Brandon. I got Brandon's Kids against Neil and whatever he's got. What'd I call him?
That's a good question. What did you call him? Did you give him another name, or you just said he was falsely named? I'm trying to look at the players, but I don't see.
Because he's cooking some lamb, right?
Yeah, I didn't see who you riffed.
Oh, he's got Eno, right?
He does.
Yeah, it was Eno Mountain High Enough. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, Eno Mountain High Enough. That's right. He riffed off of that. That's a good one. Underutilized for sure. Eno Benjamin team names. So it pains me to do it, but I'm also going to go with Team Brandon on this matchup. So Jerry's Kids are getting a vote of confidence from both of us.
All right. Shall we reveal the confidence points?
Yeah, so in the matchup, my matchup versus Aaron, how confident are you that Aaron is going to win? On a scale of 1 to 5. Let's do 1 to 5.
Yeah, 5 is most confident. And for me, I'm going to give Aaron a 4 on the confidence scale here. I think his team has wizard magic running through all through top to bottom, including all 4 quarterbacks.
Interesting. Because I am at a 5 that Taylor Swift's bad blood is going to win. So, we're both pretty confident in the other way.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. That's not going to change throughout the rest of the year. A 5 that my team is going to win. It's not going to change. Hey, to be fair, I've been more right than I've been wrong. So
yeah.
I'm over 500. Matchup number 2. How confident are you that Sir Lancelot is going to beat you this week?
Well, like I said, it is if there was a number higher than 100%, I would say that for Adam's team, it's just so it's stickety stacked, and it's gonna blow me out 600 to 0. So we're gonna give it a 5 on the confidence.
All right, I also have a 5 on Sir Lancelot. I think he's gonna just demolish your team. Joe Mixon had his one breakout game, and so that's it.
You can only break out once.
And you can't break out when you're on a bye, so he's going to score you 0
Yeah.
points this week.
You only break out one. Yo boo,
You can only
as they say.
Yes, exactly. And you got Darrell Henderson in there, and you're running back one in the running back one spot. You got Darrell Henderson. Bold move.
Hey man, he's gonna get the ball. They're gonna realize Cam Akers is not all that, and they're just gonna hand the ball to the nondescript Darrell Henderson, who's gonna run for 2 yards every time.
Oh, that was something I saw. Oh no, it was the Chiefs. The Chiefs running backs this week had like 11 carries for a total of 12 yards.
Yeah,
It was insane. That was funny. Anyway, matchup number 3, we've got Team Chad Keen versus Team Go Clifford. How confident are you that the Dogfather himself is going to win this matchup?
So I got the Dogfather in a close one. I'm giving him this is my closest, least certain match of the day. This is a 1 for the Dogfather against the Targaryens here.
Yeah, I was gonna go with a 2 on the other side of that team. I think this is gonna be a close matchup. Like you said, it's gonna be a barn burner with the 2 low scoring matchups, I think. And I think, yeah, I've got a 2 on team the Pits, aka Targaryens. So, all right, matchup number 4, you picked Team Ryhose over Team Tree and Sucks. How confident are you in that victory?
So the Ryhos are getting 3 points of confidence from me against Quartz. Maybe it could be higher. Considered putting them above my confidence for Aaron, but I just can't. I think I'm living in the Buck magic, and the Ryhos, we're gonna have to do a little work to prove yourself a little bit against Quartz. Even though Quartz is at the bottom of my power rankings, who knows? He is the champion after all.
He is at the bottom of the rankings, and not only your power rankings, but also our league rankings. But I think that's going to change this week because I think I'm at a 4. All right, we're back and we're recording again. So
Okay.
we just had a snafu, but go ahead.
So I'm going with Ryo and the Ryhos. So you're sticking with Quartz here. So what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Quartz, and I think I said I said 4. Because I think the number 1 quarterback in the league, Justin Fields, is going to take him to victory. I think, I'm not sure if Josh Allen's going to play this week. And if he does, maybe he's not feeling as good as he normally does. So maybe he won't be quite as reliable this week. And I just think that, the combination of the new leadership of Justin Fields, along with the new acquisitions, DJ Moore and Deonta Foreman, in a juicy matchup against Atlanta, will kind of lead the way against an ailing Fournette, Mike Evans, and Hunter Renfrow on the other side.
See, my only rationale for I was like, okay, I would love to pick for Fields and what he did or whatever, but it's like, come on, no one's gonna let him do that again, right? Hopefully.
He's done it 3 weeks in a row, so he's been over 20 fantasy points for 3 weeks.
This can't just be how it is. It can't.
They've unlocked him. He's unlocked.
They gave him the real playbook.
Yeah, they finally upgraded him.
I'm still waiting for them to give Kenny Pickett the real playbook.
But yeah, so you said you were in the 3 zone. I'm in the 4 zone for the other way. And then the last matchup, I think we were both pretty certain about this. Picking Brandon's team. I think I've got him. I don't know. Actually, I think this is going to be closer.
I got Brandon for 2 points.
That's where I was leaning, 2 or 3, I think. I'll go with 2 too. We're pretty pretty much in the same boat for that. So he's got good players, but they've got some tough matchups. But Josh Jacobs has proven that he can take advantage of a terrible matchup, or I mean a good matchup for him, and DeAndre Hopkins is back, against a good matchup of the Rams. So, I think it's going to be tight, but I think Jerry's kids are going to, pull it out. So give him a 2. 2-2. So that's it. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we made it through. Benaiah, despite the fact that your team destroyed me because of Joe Mixon, I was very glad in this week. Always. We have a blast on this show, this pod, with my guests. So it's always more fun when I have somebody here, as I said last week, than the previous 2 weeks where I'm just like powering through it just by myself. So the tangents are what makes this episode or these podcasts fun. So
there were no tangents.
You're right. They were all relevant.
This was the tightest show ever.
That's right. That's what we said. Tightest show ever. So, Benaiah, I loved having you on, and I love having all of you guys on. So, this is why we do this, is to just, joke around, have fun, hate on other people's teams, all that sort of stuff. And I love you guys. So, once again, Benaiah, thank you so much. You bring so much to the pod. You bring so much to the league, and wouldn't have it any other way.
It is my greatest pleasure being on this program. The league is just full of character. Glad to be a part of it.
Good. Well, all of you, thanks for joining us for this week 9 episode. Dude, we are already halfway through the season, man. Halfway through the full season. Not even just like the regular, fantasy football season. Full season. We're halfway there. So that's crazy to think about. But, man, we got to enjoy it while it's still here. So I'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast. Otherwise, y'all have a good weekend and enjoy the matchups this weekend.
All right, hit it.
See you later. We'll see you guys.